Hey, good morning. It's Fort Worth Playboy, and this is the Fort Worth Playboy morning show. And it always sneaks up on me, even though I'm like prepared 5, 10 minutes early. I'm here, but it always catches me off guard when it hits 6:30 straight up or 7, like on the other days. Glad you're here. Thank you for watching. And during this broadcast, what I always try to convey is what is a morning show all about? It's about game, pickup, relationships, and sex. And when I say we, I mean myself and Bunny, who is my partner in pretty much everything. Um, and we do the morning show or the morning hustle on Thursday mornings at 11 a.m. together. And this was an outgrowth of that. Um, what we cover is tactical game application, moving women from complete stranger to in your bed and naked. And Bunny is also very good at all the way to from initial meeting to being married 20 or 30 years and wanting to keep that spark alive in the marriage. So we kind of run that gamut, but we are under the umbrella of the red pill, which is MGTOW, men's rights movement, anything political, anything that comes down to intersexual dynamics. Um, and so an evolutionary psychology will fall under the red pill a little bit. We use a lot of evolutionary psychology. So we game falls under the red pill, the umbrella of that. And then we're much more tactical about like making, the definition of game is learned charisma. Charisma being that social and personal affluence that attracts women effortlessly, believe it or not. And so we teach you how to create that learned charisma because charisma can be learned. You can learn how to become more attractive and move women from complete stranger to in your bed to, girlfriend, wife, long-term relationships. So let's get started. We always start with a maxim from royalty from Chateau Artiste. He has about 200 of them. Today is maxim number 21. In the quest for romance, boldness overcomes a lot of personal flaws. Timidity swamps a lot of personal virtues. It means what he is saying is that your boldness, your effect of action, and most guys are action takers, will overcome a lot of personal flaws. And the reason is, well, even guys admire action takers. They tend to show a bit of boldness, bravery, and I'm missing the word, but they tend to move towards action, not inaction. And there's a saying like in the British Special Air Service, who dares wins. And it's a good little reminder of who dares wins, who takes action, who has more boldness in any type of competition. And when you're going after women, it's basically a competition, the sexual competition. That overcomes a lot of your flaws. You may not be dressed quite as well as other men. You may not have as much money as other men. You may not even be as charismatic as other men. But because you take action and you're the first mover, then you're the first person in front of her. And there's a certain number of points that you receive mentally for being an action taker. So always, if you're inclined, this is what I tell guys. I mean, when you see a girl that you find attractive, always say hi. You want it to be the default state that you're social and that you're kind of gregarious and you are open to meeting people. Always say hi to any woman that you find attractive in your day-to-day life. That way, when it is important, you find somebody that absolutely, you want to introduce yourself or to get to know. it's more natural. That way you're not like going from 0 to 100. You're more like going from 70 to 100. You're used to moving at that speed. So in the quest for romance, boldness, bravery, courage, a leaning towards action. And when this broadcast is over, I will actually find the word that I'm looking for, that I keep missing. There's probably been 5 times that I'm looking for a certain word to describe this, and it's not coming to me. But your boldness overcomes a lot of personal flaws. Timidity swamps a lot of personal virtues. The number one thing that will kill a man in romance, in seduction, is shyness. And I think Rivellino is really good about pushing this, is that like a shy girl can still show up and do great. She can secure a great husband. She can secure a great boyfriend. She can have sex as often as she wants, even if she's shy. For a man who's shy, you're in trouble. You're not going to have a high quality life. You're probably going to be overlooked for a lot of things. You're going to miss out on a lot of things, and you're definitely going to have to settle for scraps when it comes to women. Shy men don't do well. You have to overcome that if you want to do well with women. There's no questions about it. Some things, it's just like if you take a shower daily, you're going to do much better than a guy who showers once a week. So if you're shy, you're the guy showering once a week or once a month. It's to your disadvantage, and you have to work on overcoming that. So timidity swamps a lot of personal virtues. You can have a great intelligence. You can bring a lot to the table. You can be witty and charming in private. But if you can't bring that out, if you can't actually go up to a girl and introduce yourself and move her from stranger to at least meeting up with you, you're in for a bad time. So your inclination, your leaning towards action, and your propensity for action will help you, especially in the very beginning when it comes to attracting girls. And the last point I'll make here is we say why. Because a lot of guys don't like guys who grandstand or who take a lot of action or are the center of attention. That's how they see it if a person is bold. But women are passive. They are receivers. They are designed to be acted upon, and you are designed to be an actor. So nothing happens until you take action. And every nitwit that we talk about this, they'll be like, well, I've had a girl come up and talk to me before, or I had a girl ask me out. The exceptions prove the rule. The exceptions prove the rule in game. Every time we have a rule, somebody will jump in and say, hey, but and that single instance will tend to prove the vast majority of the rule. And the vast majority of women have to be acted upon. You have to take the initiative. You have to make things happen right up until sex starts happening regularly. And then the girl will pick up a little bit of the initiative as she starts to chase you. And make no mistake, girls will chase you. Once you start having sex with them 2, 3, 4 times, they will be more bold in their pursuit of you. And that's where they're happiest. So remember, women have to be acted upon. You have to make things happen. You have to approach them. You have to get the conversation going. You have to ask them out. Once you meet up, you have to move them from that venue to in your bed. And then you have to repeat it 3 or 4 times before they'll start taking some action. And there's all kinds of reasons for that, but that's too large of a topic for this short little segment. But again, maxim number 21, keep in mind, in the quest for romance, boldness overcomes a lot of personal flaws. Timidity swamps a lot of personal virtues. Let's see. We got questions. Um, Good. Like Johnny says, I found out that the mistakes I made for being audacious was corrected by being more audacious. Exactly. Girls will push and test you and see if you're like actually the real deal, what you're proposing to her that you are, which is bold. And they'll push back sometimes, especially girls that are kind of damaged. Um, then you just lay on more boldness and they'll tend to shut it down. They just want to see if you're the actual real deal because they've been fooled before. And some guys nailed him and then he wasn't actually who he said he was. So this is data essentials. You need little markers. You need a system. If you're going to move one girl or 100 girls or 1,000 girls from stranger to in your bed, you need a system that you can build that can have structure and is repeatable. And then you just start plugging the girls into it. You can't be that imaginative. You can't give every girl a brand new, unique experience. They don't even want that. They want something that is a sure thing. They want something that is smooth. They want it to just happen. And they don't know. Again, it's new to them. It's like when you run a line and you go, God, I've used this line on 1,000 women. But the line is new to the girl. She's never heard it before. It's unique. It's kind of like a comedy routine. Guys will do the same comedy routine for 2 or 3 years, but they're moving to different comedy places or comedy stores or comedy venues, and it's new to the audience. So the things that kind of get old to you are still new to her. So, and they work, they excite her. They're an interesting story. They show that you have high value. So you want to get a system. You want to have basic points that you hit in a meetup when you're moving a girl from stranger or kind of knows you to in your bed and naked. So date essentials. Don't call it a date. Call it a meetup. That way, when she goes, well, usually when I date, we're not going out on a date. We're going to meet up. You just don't, and they go, oh, you're right. Yeah, we're just meeting up. So always have a plan, but don't call it a date. Call it, hey, this is where I'm going on Thursday night, and I need to be there about 7. Do you want to go with me? You're going to have fun no matter where you're at. So you're the fun guy, and you have this place you need to be, and she can come along with you if she'd like. And if she doesn't, that's okay too. You'll find somebody else. But would she like to come with you? So that's pretty much how you say, this is where I'm going to be. Why don't you come along with me? We can meet up. Don't call it a date. When you deal with a date, it puts it into a different mental frame of you're seeking her approval. You're taking her to dinner to see if she likes you. But if you're meeting up, it's just fun. It's kind of like what Corey Wayne says. What is a date? It's a fun-filled time or event that can lead to sex. Remember, that's what all of this is about. You can, go to dinner with your family, but if you go to dinner with a girl and it can lead to sex, you're now on a date or a meetup. So that's the difference. But girls want to keep that date frame because it gives them leverage, and you don't need that. You need to meet up, and when you meet up, you have a plan. And I have an entire book on this, how to build your dating system. But these are just some of the key points that will just help you, even if you are just getting your feet under you. Dress just a slight level above what you really think you need. There's nothing harmful about being slightly better dressed than you need to be. If you show up, and again, you don't need a bunch of money either. Clean, serviceable clothes, you're already beating most dudes. So just know that, always, start dressing like an adult man ahead of time before you need to, really. So dress well, dress one level above what you think you need, and you'll probably hit it just right. Remember, girls, even if it's a meetup, even if it's as you think it's casual, she spent 4 hours getting ready because she's hoping this date will be the last fucking first date she ever has to go out on. So dress better than you think you need. One level above. Don't wear sneakers. Just one level. Just casual, street casual, business casual, whatever you need to do for yourself and your venue and your style, but better than you think. Keep it simple. Have drinks. No dinners. Never meet dinner. We say no dinner because you guys go, well, girls will just meet up with you for a free meal. Well, the best way to counter all of that is to simply, you only meet up for drinks. And that way you can kind of get a feel for it and see if she's interesting. And if you want to continue the night, you can do so from there. But we always say just either have a 1 or a 2 date system, and you will get very good at this to the point where you're closing on the first date or the second date, and there's never any third dates. Keep it simple. Hey, let's meet up for drinks. This is low key, it's adult, it's sexy. Again, find venues that are kind of dark, kind of sexy. You don't want to go necessarily to a sports bar because they're loud. Check out your venues ahead of time. But again, keep it simple. Just keep it casual in the beginning because you don't even know if you'll like this girl. And guys are always like, well, why do I have to do, drinks and not dinner? Most of it's for you. It's because if she comes in and she doesn't look like she said she would look, or doesn't look like her pictures, and it's going in the negative, and you're not attracted at all, or she shows that she has a horrible personality, you can bail most easily. It's much easier to just pay the tab and walk out. Go, hey, it was good to meet you. I don't think this is a match. I wish you well. And then you head out. And then you still have the rest of the night to go out. You can get another meetup. But it gives you a chance, to have a casual meetup, a chance to feel her out, see if she's who she says she is, see if she's interesting, see if you actually want to pursue her. And you can pivot from there. You can bounce to another location. But quite often, the reason we want to keep it casual in the beginning is simply so you can bail out of there quickly if you need to. Don't be boring. Have a plan. Talk. Have your conversation going. Ask her questions about herself. A lot of the times I've asked girls what their worst first date was. And they'll inevitably, the guy either showed up hammered drunk, or he talked about himself for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And guys can do that. I mean, I've met men who more than happy will talk about themselves for a couple of hours and never ask you a question about yourself. But if you ask her questions about herself, get her talking, then she's going to think you're the most interesting man on earth, because that's how people walk away from that. Is they for whatever reason, when they spill their guts, and girls love to talk, they'll basically find you interesting. Bounce to a second and third location nearby. Have a system. Know where you're going to go. The idea of bouncing is you need time compression. Mystery method, or mystery, always said it takes at least 7 hours of interaction with a girl. And I think that includes like texting and phone calls nowadays, for them to be comfortable enough. This is in general. You can do it in less. This is in general. But what of FaceTime, you need about 7 hours for them to be comfortable enough to have sex with you the first time. And then you go from there. That can be compressed into about 3 to 4 hours if necessary, or even less, depending on the situation. But don't bet on it. Always imagine, if you're going to try to close on the first date with most girls, talking the vast majority, you're going to need at least 1 or 2 more places to bounce. You go from, your first meetup spot to a second place to have drinks, 1 or 2. And then either bounce, if you're feeling good and you're moving forward and you're already starting to escalate physically, you can go, hey, you want to see my monkey? He's in my apartment, or I own a midget, you should meet him. Let's go up to my apartment. And so you can break away and then head upstairs. She needs plausible deniability, which is the next thing. But again, bounce to a second or third location, because what this does, it gives her the impression mentally that you've been together longer. You're on an adventure together. You've been to multiple places. She feels that she knows you better. It's a mental trick, and we just kind of stumbled on it, but it works. It works. And also, you get tired of being in the same place for too long. So use it to your advantage. Second place, bounce to a third, and then to your place. And why do I always recommend guys go, oh, I don't want her to know where I live, or some bullshit. The reason I always say is to have a place to take her is you want to control the environment. If you go back to her place, her parents could be there, her kids are there, roommates, she's not comfortable. It doesn't matter. If you have a place that you can control the environment, that's stacking the deck in your favor. That's what you want to do. Stack the deck in your favor. Every one of these things gives you a strategic advantage to move that girl from stranger to naked in your bed that first or the second night. Too many guys leave this shit up to chance, and they chance themselves right into celibacy. So give her plausible deniability. Give her a reason to come to your apartment that has nothing to do with sex. She knows she's coming up for the potential of sex to happen, or she wouldn't come up. But you have to give her plausible deniability. And it works. Guys go, well, you don't have to know why. You just have to know it works. And it works this way if you want to get laid. And again, fuck her like it's her last fuck and yours. Girls, even the biggest slut on the face of the earth is still going to hold back the first couple times so you can't see her slutty side or her true self. They're still going to hold back. But you got to give it everything you got. Your first impression, you don't want it to be your last impression. So when you're going to bang, I don't care if you got to be up in 2 hours. I don't care if you have a marathon the next day. You got to give it everything you physically have, and don't leave nothing. Like we always say, leave nothing on the field. When you're done, there's nothing left of her or you. So give it everything you got that first time. There's only one first time, and you're making a first impression. And the girls girls are a little bit slower to warm up. They'll tend to become the more revealing of themselves down the line. They're along for the ride the first few times. This is Johnny DeLima. Learned 7 the hard way. She said she was due to person she wouldn't be meeting again. Nowadays, I fuck them like my life depends on it because it could be the last one. Exactly. Every time, especially that first time, you want to give it everything you've got. That way, there's nothing left on the field and you leave a good impression. She might come back eventually. So never hold back. Never go, well, we can always, we could have sex tomorrow. No, you have a window of time that you can close. So you got to take it. And that's the real deal. So that's the date essentials. You start hitting these points, or you pick up my book, How to Build a Dating System, you're going to close on the first or the second date, guaranteed. It just works. Girls want to be moved from stranger to in your bed. For them, all of this, everything you do, all of this planning, to them, their story the next day is, yeah, I met up with this guy. And, I wasn't really planning on like hooking up with him, but it just happened. It just happened. And that's how it just happened, was you making it happen, which is pretty much everything when it comes to women and men. Is women are along for the ride and you make it happen. And the more you're inclined to do so, the more sex with more women you're going to have. You have to make it happen. See if we got anything else on the timeline. Oh, good. Sometimes small things can add up big, especially when it comes to like texting or any type of electronic communication where you're typing and you're using a keypad. Simple alpha text rules. Again, a lot of times when it comes to texting, guys, and they'll go, I text too goddamn much, and I go on and on and on, and I write paragraphs, and I write like a block of text, and that's never a good thing. So small, little, simple, easy to follow rules will go a long way to helping you. And what's interesting with this, and I try to give information that's fast acting, because guys you need some wins, especially in the beginning when you're not sure if this stuff works. You need some wins. You kick this into your texting, you'll see almost an immediate change in girls' tones in response to you. You will have a better experience communicating with women by text using these rules. No emojis. Emoji stands for emotions. Men don't have emotions. Girls don't want to know men have emotions. So get rid of the emojis. If you have teenage daughters, it's going to be very hard because these are the guys that they text with their kids, and the kids use emojis all the time. So they're inclined, just stop. I mean, you can use it with your kids by all means, but for women, you're attempting to seduce, get rid of the emojis. None. Okay. There's no place for them. I don't care about the exceptions. Every exception proves a rule. Don't do it. Just get rid of them. That way you don't go, oh, I should. No. So no emojis, no punctuation. Get rid of it. Get rid of capitalization. You want it. If you see most CEOs correspondence like an email, they actually there's typos. The wrong word is capitalized. They don't even use the body of the email. They'll use just like the topic line to send the whole thing, like meeting at 7 p.m. It'll say meet 7 p.m. That's it. So no punctuation. You have other things to do than, you don't want to be, you're not a guy, you're busy. You don't have time to, play with a high school girl's toy. So no double texting. I don't care if she hasn't responded in an hour, a day, a week, a month. If you ask a question and you don't get a response, you leave it there forever if necessary. Don't double text. No good morning or good night texts. If you haven't been sleeping with her if you haven't been having sex with her for at least 5 years, no good morning or good night text. Okay. She gets this. If you get when a girl wakes up in your bed the first morning and her phone is blowing up, it's all these guys that are not having sex with her, sending her, hey, good morning, beautiful. Good morning. And if you think I'm joking, have a girl show you her phone. Your average, even unattractive girls, all day long, guys are reaching out to them. Boring, same old, hey, good morning, good night. It's just validation. Don't be part of it. Okay. And again, the golden rule of say less than her. When it comes to game, less is more. We call it the golden ratio. For every 3 words she uses, 2. Every 3 displays of affection, you give her back 1 or 2. Even Bunny said even 2 to 3 is too much. Like that 3 to 1 or 4 to 1 is a better ratio. But say less than her. When you see a text exchange, you want to see lots of investment from her and a couple things from you. Lots of investment from her, a few things from her. You just kind of keep it going. And again, don't be on the phone too much. Guys literally text themselves right out of having sex with girls, because the longer you text before you start banging, the more likely is you'll say something stupid. And it doesn't have to be stupid to you because she's using her reference points. You're kind of at her mercy and you don't need that. So as little as she can work with, that's best. Again, simple alpha text rules. Put them into play today. I think you'll see a return on your investment immediately. No emojis, no punctuation, no double texting, no good morning or good night text, and say less than her. Less is more when it comes to texting. I'm sorry I could not get to any questions right off the bat today. I will carry on the questions you guys have today. I can start answering tomorrow morning, and I'll be on at 7 a.m. That's right, Thursday at 7 a.m. right here. And I appreciate your time. Your time is valuable, and I appreciate you watching, and I hope you walk away with something you can apply today. Have a great day.